So now we've set up our hosting and we've got our domain name. And the next step is to think about the platform that we're going to be building on. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's no better platform, in my opinion, than WordPress. But what is WordPress? Well, there's actually two types of WordPress. One is self-hosted WordPress at wordpress.org, as we like to call it. And then there's a hosted version, which is wordpress.com. Now, because you've got your hosting package, and for the flexibility and the expandability of the whole platform, we're going to be using wordpress.org for our example. And generally, that's all I would ever use, the self-hosted version of WordPress. WordPress is one of the major platforms in the world. It powers over 400 million users. It powers 40% of every single website that you see on the internet. That's websites such as the BBC, Microsoft, the White House, my website, and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of millions of other websites. It's flexible, it's expandable, it's open source, so it's free, and there are so many plugins, add-ons, extras, really good support, as well as being able to power any type of website, whether you're a photographer, like the website that we're going to be doing. We can add a booking system, we can sell products such as prints, or whether you're a plumber and you just want a quick, this is who we are, this is what we do, get in and contact us. Or if you're an e-commerce online store and there's hundreds and hundreds of options that you can create that online store for, and it all costs nothing more than your hosting package. So once we've selected WordPress and we know a little bit more about it, if you jump over to the text article of this, you'll see loads and loads of information that we've written down about the benefits and why we should use WordPress and a little bit more about it. But we need to know how we set it up correctly. Now, if you use my hosting, I will give you a login detail for a dashboard that will look something like this. So essentially, this is set up correctly so that security, best power, speed, and everything is already in place, ready for you to go. It will also have several plugins installed, ready to go. But I've deactivated those on this instance just because as we go through the process, I want to show you the plugins and everything that we're using in the theme and the theme builder and everything in the next couple of lessons. So let's start with setting it up. Now, generally, the back end of WordPress looks slightly different to this. There's a few extra news and stuff like that, but I've got rid of those on my installs, but it won't be too dissimilar. So we need to be going down to our settings and going on to general settings. And as that loads, you'll see that it's got your web address in there, the admin email address, and everything like so. So for this instance, the site title is Photography Studio. For you, it would be John Doe's Photography or John Doe Plumbing, whatever, or your brand name, whatever you want to use. Then a bit of a tagline. So we go for Photography Studio in Birmingham. And that's just a little bit of a tagline. Moving through, when we look at SEO and things like that and the plugins that we use for that a bit later on in the guide, the tagline will become semi-irrelevant anyway. So for my instance, we're going to be working on a website from the United Kingdom. So we're going to select the language as English UK. We're going to pick the time zone, which is UTC +1. And then we're going to format the date correctly for the area. And then the time, I like to use a 24-hour clock. Then if we add an A at the end, that will add the PM as well. Week starts on a Monday, press Save Changes. Now you'll see at the top, Photography Studio is there, but you'll see that this little icon comes on for our WordPress updates. Click on that and we'll update the translations because we've changed the language that that we're going to be using. So let's go back to settings. Let's go to writing, and all of those are pretty much going to be irrelevant to what you need. So we're not going to touch any of those, leave them as they are. Let's have a look at reading. Now for reading, as standard, it's going to come as your latest posts. We're going to create that eventually into a static page, but we need to create the static page first. So what we do is we go to Pages, Add New, and let's call that Home. Press Publish. Let's go back to the dashboard here. And then we go back to Settings, Reading, and let's select that as a home. So that will then become the index or the first landing page. Now, for my install, it's got the home page already set up, ready to go, so you don't need to change that. But depending on your hosting server and provider, you may need to set that page up and go through these steps. And just click on Save Changes. Discussion. So this is where during your blog, whether you want people to be able to comment, this all comes down to the actual use of your website and your personal preferences. Now, I don't use a lot of comments. I don't allow them on a lot of websites. So what I tend to do is just uncheck this area and then make sure everything else, and it'll drop me an email and just double check that comment must be automatically manually approved and everything along those lines, and just make sure that Save Settings. Now you go through those settings and set those up to suit whatever your preference is. Permalinks. So as standard, they will come as plain. And that means when somebody goes to a website, it will be whatever your web address is / this little bit at the end for each page. Now, most websites, as you know, if we go back to this page, for example, we'll have scottlavendigital.com / how to make a small business website, blah, blah, blah. So if we click on post name, that will enter that there and save. That is how we get a proper URL structure to the end of our website. Make sure it's on post name and you'll be good to go. And that's pretty much up. That is pretty much the basis of how a website needs to be set up in the back end of WordPress. Dead easy, pretty simple, not much else to worry about. Then if we go to view the site, as you'll see, we've just got a blank page, and that will give us, so when we go through later, this is how a blank canvas will become our website, and we'll cover that obviously in lesson 5. But you'll see everything's set up, ready to go. Our domain name works. We can get back to the dashboard with this bar at the top, which only you will see. Your clients or visitors to the website won't. And you'll be able to do any of the changes that we want. And when we have plugins and look at themes and theme builders, this is where we will control everything through what we call the content management system of WordPress. In the next step, we are going to look at different themes that are available, the theme that we will pick and choose, and the theme builder that we'll be using to build our website. Jump over there very shortly, and let's crack on to the next lesson.